Do it.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and we are Aces 53. And if you know what that doesn't know what that means, then you have not been watching us.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's an old thing that I came up with from college. One of my instructors told me about 4 aces and a joker, how you always want to keep that. Brian makes it the best, says it's the best hand in poker. I don't know, but all I know is it was an acronym for me. ACES stands for attitude, commitment, enthusiasm, and smile, which you bring to the table in sales. And that joker is that unique ability that you have or you learn, kind of like what Brian does, and to help you in sales. You know, for me, it was my beautiful face. I was so attractive that, just I sold by the
Body
phone.
of Adonis. You just walked in.
Well, I did for a while. But anyway, but most people couldn't see me walk in the phone, so it didn't matter.
There you go.
But so I want to kind of go over. I keep saying
you're
yeah, Brad Pitt on the phone. I keep saying you're so's. You must have threw it my way. I don't like that.
There you go. Yes, passed it on to someone else.
Last week we were talking about who was the lady you were talking about that said go after the higher ticket offers.
That was the Julie Chanel. Was the one. I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
All right, and you got her for like a couple weeks from now.
Yep, she was throwing her event, and then we'll get her out here.
That's the one thing I miss about going to some events, because I haven't been to events, most of the year this year, which has been actually good and bad. I mean, I'm sure getting my life in order to a certain point. Not that it was out of order, but my industry had a little change for me. It decided that I didn't need to make as much money as I used to make.
Oh, and it was consistently made for a long period of time, right? That's
I never had to worry about income, and then all of a sudden, somebody votes somebody in, and they decide to just destroy everything, and now we're here.
Mm-hmm. So it was Julie Chanel, Chenell, and her website is funnelgorgeous.com.
And they are very gorgeous.
Yes.
Yes, they're
but she was the one. Yeah, her big ending was stop being cheap. Don't start with a cheap product. Realize you're an expert, sell a high-end product, then you can sell cheaper products later on after you've covered your bills.
And well, the whole thing about that is 2 things. If you're going to write a book, it's got to look nice. It can't look cheap. And I know some people who, they went, I don't want to say cheap route, but you could tell quality is where it's at. It's that whole story that the most expensive tool in your whatever is the cheapest tool because you break it 3 times. Yeah, exactly. Quality is important, and people know that when they want to buy certain things, they want to know about quality, they want to know about your reviews and about everything about you now, and that's important.
Oh, and interesting. So I was watching some people. Look, I just said so. There were people pulling up with nice cars at a restaurant we went to the other day, and the new Corvette. A lot of people like the look of it, but what they said is, I don't want to buy one because I know I have to go to the Corvette dealership to get it worked on. And there's just, that's the attitude of people's, right? If you go to a Lexus, you go to Acura, you go to BMW, Audi, whatever, they know it's top tier service. They know if you go to just your normal dealership, people question, am I going to get that same kind of treatment? So it's interesting because they loved the car, but they were worried about after they had the car, the service that went along with it. So it wasn't the product, it was the after fact is the reason why they didn't want to buy one.
Right. But most people are buying the Corvettes are the ones who've always wanted a Corvette. And they, the guys older than me are still jumping in those. I can't fit in most of them. I don't know how that one is. So, yeah.
not that we brought this up on purpose, but when my buddy won that UFC Dream Experience, hence the t-shirts, they took us out and said, what car do you want? Well, growing up as a kid, I always wanted Lambo, right? But getting in and out of one, I can't imagine doing that as a daily driver.
Try backing one up. Yeah. You teach it a certain way to back up. Yeah.
It's just, I can't even imagine, but yes.
Well, but to have that problem to not have, who cares?
Yes. Yeah. To get in and out. Well, that's why, people used to make fun with Lamborghini, and some of the other ones came out with the high-end SUVs, but I see a lot more of those hitting the road now. So at least around here in Dallas.
Get what you want.
Yeah.
For me, F-250 fits me perfectly. And the funny thing about that is everybody gave me so much grief when I drove my Audi, but my truck is more expensive than my Audi was.
That's the kind of funny thing that, like, when somebody says farmer, people picture somebody with a pitchfork, right? Like sitting with a withered house and everything else. And you look at half the machines they have on their lot are worth more than most people's net worth. You know, they got all these really expensive tractors and haulers and everything else. But when you say farmer, people instantly think dirt, overalls, pitchfork, not realizing the amount of what capital investment most farmers have. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's not horsing the thing anymore. They actually have tractors and everything else they've
Right.
invested in. Yeah.
Technology farms. There was a guy that was at the event last week who he provides cybersecurity for hog farms because everything's automated. When do the gates open? When do they get fed? Crazy stuff that you just never thought that a hog farm would need a cybersecurity team, but it is. And they saved them from a hack last year.
Wow.
And that's not what I think of being hacked as a hog farm, but you know,
you went to slaughter too fast.
That's right.
I don't think it had anything to do with that. It was just probably their feed and everything could be really messed. I mean, they try any way to get into anything just so they can see if they could get into it. I used to, yeah, we'll move on. But the reason
when you had war games.
Yeah. Would you like to play a game?
It's funny. Like if you look back at several movies that you look at could come true now, like this day and age. Well, now we have AI, which Manoj talked about at the event last week, that it's been around since the 60s. You don't think of it being out there. The first time I think of AI is like war games, and then after that, Terminator came out. You know, all these things. You find out these things have been around for a very, very long time.
Yeah, they just opened it to the public.
Right.
It's kind of like the aliens. Aliens have been around forever, but they're not open to the public yet.
Exactly. So,
but all right, back to the whole purpose, huh?
Yes, you're talking about a book you were reading right before we started the live.
Right. But it's all about what your lady was talking about. Sell your most expensive thing first, and then work your way down. I've seen many videos, and the way I've been reading and certain things, and I read 2 books. Well, that's a loose term because I listen, but No BS. Hold on here. Let me get it. The first was Magnetic Marketing, which is from Dan Kennedy, which was a good book. And then I started reading their No BS Marketing to the Affluent. And it kind of added to what I have been thinking, that in the way things are going right now, somebody was saying if rates went down 2% lower, the average house value of 600,000 would be to 900,000 in a couple months because of the amount of people trying to buy those homes, because there's just not enough inventory around there at all. Sorry, I have little kids in the office today.
Your sleeping coworkers.
Yeah. Damn, they don't make any money either for me. It just costs.
They just take.
The littler one doesn't really bother me. It's the one who thinks she's in charge that has the problem. Anyway,
well, back to what you were talking about. So, watching as an outsider, looking at people putting events together, I'm also seeing a big change in that people aren't throwing the large events with a low ticket price anymore. People are scaling back and saying, I want smaller groups with a higher ticket price, because people weren't even able to fill the large arenas with the $500 to $600 tickets. But the people who sell smaller, 20 to let's say 60 or 80, are still able to fill rooms. Now there was one here very recently. Rene Rodriguez was in Dallas, and I think he had 200 or 300 people in there, and the lowest ticket price was probably 500. But he speaks so much around the U.S. I think he speaks 265 days or 285 days last year. So if you think about how many days are in the year, it's crazy that he's either doing Zoom, in person, whatever. So I can imagine he can fill it. But somebody who's not that active, excuse me, how they're filling events. I saw somebody who used to host a 3-day event announce that they're only going to do a 1-day event. And that's a few reasons, right? If you look at marketing, are they marketing for scarcity? Is it because people are unwilling to spend airfare and multi-night hotels? We don't know, but I'm starting to see more and more of that, where people are going, hey, 1 to 2 days max instead of these longer sessions. So even they're taking away, some of the VIP events the night before, making modified changes. So I think a lot of industries are starting to really feel the effect of people not having money to spend on the different events.
Yeah, I think it's and I think it's going to get worse way before it gets better. It's over the next 24 months, we're going to see a huge change in what's going on. I mean, definitely in the next 12 months, but 18 months, you're going to see it's going all, and after that's going to depend on where we are. I don't want to say presidentially, but if there was a change in what everybody feels is going on with the whole United States. So,
well, have you been keeping up? Now, I don't watch the Formula F. I don't watch the F1 races. I've been to one when they were in Austin, Texas. But have you been keeping up with the whole Vegas experience?
No, I saw the last night because the Raiders were playing last night, and I watched the game because it was Sunday Night Football. And the Raiders aren't my team, but they were in Vegas, and then I saw this arch thing. I'm like, hey, that's new. And Marsh is like, oh, they're doing the I don't know, whatever it was,
the
Formula
F1
One
races. Yeah, Formula One races.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because they had to lower prices up to 80% because people weren't buying the tickets.
Oh, really?
Now, this is F1 races is your top tier people who have yachts and fly all around the world following these teams. So just a GA to watch at one point standing room only is $600 to $1,500 a day. If you want to be inside with air conditioning and still being able to have Red Bull and cameras and all that kind of stuff, you're looking at $3,000 to $8,000 a day.
Wow.
But what they found is the hotels were jacking up the prices. Airfare was getting expensive. So they just did this big announcement that they had to lower prices by like 80% because people weren't doing it. And they thought, well, we don't want to see everything coming around the corner and it's empty stands. So people who waited till the last minute, I know people who are thinking about going now because it became affordable again for both hotels, stay, and all that. Because it's like I said, it's a very affluent sport. But even if that got hit and it's the very first year they've ever done Vegas, which should have been their top tier year, it's very, very interesting that they went that route.
Yeah, but isn't Formula One more of a European thing?
It is, but Miami and Austin sell out every year, like way in advance. They just they were last year or this year was the year they was supposed to expire, and they thought, oh well, we're already doing Miami, which they've done the last 2 years, and now we've got one in Vegas. Maybe we won't renew. And they had enough interest that they renewed the track in Austin for several more years. Did you go with us when we did that with Steve to that track? Okay, it's that track that's out there.
Quasimodo.
Yeah, when I got the bee sting, yes, that's exactly the track. Maybe that's why I got PTSD and I don't want to go back. Let's see if I can find.
Yeah, that was when we were go-kart racing.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the motorcycle guys just had to show off. So
of course. Okay, so let me see.
Mine kept going down because my governor wouldn't let me go faster, and then they would lower my speed. Because every time I went, well, you were going too fast in the beginning, so I don't give a. I didn't crash.
Right.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff.
I'm a little bit heavier than these kids, so I need a little bit more speed going in certain places.
You need a little more vroom.
Yeah.
But to your point, what we're starting to see is people are now second guessing how they're going to spend their money.
I don't know if they're second guessing, is they're prioritizing eating, where they live, those basic things that are costing more now, and they're seeing that cost, and they don't have that disposable extra income. They've already used up their credit cards, they used up everything else, and now they're getting to a point where they're like, okay, what do I do? It's the same thing for my industry. We lost 100,000 loan officers in our industry this year. Not like passed away, lost. They went and got a different job. You okay there? Got allergies? Can you not hear me?
I'm back now. So
okay, you were still there. You didn't go anywhere.
Oh, I know mine's locked up for a minute because everything stopped. So I don't know if maybe that's what the noise outside is they're working on something.
You were fine. You're still going. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You just I have it on each side. So even if you lock up, keep talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to fix something. Yeah. So tickets, the average price to get in has gone from $2,000 to $10,000 or $1,060 to get in for the average price. So if you look, it's still very, very expensive, but to drop that much is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's not something I'd want to watch myself. So
I'm glad I went once. It's an experience. It's I have some friends that are ballers. And so one time they did the high end, they got a Sprinter van to take us out there. We had a driver, all that kind of stuff. Once you go that way, it's kind of hard to get regular tickets again. So, it's like anything else. Once you get to go behind the scenes, you don't want to sit out front. But I do know that there were concerns of how many people in Vegas are going to get drunk and try and jump the fence to be seen on TV and cause something stupid to happen.
Well,
so that
they
was
do
always
have Raider fans there. So.
That's true.
All right. So stop right what we just talked about. All right. So right there, you just said going the Sprinter van and doing it that way is you never want to do it any other way.
Yes.
So that goes back to the whole experience and charging more for the event so that you have that experience. Yes. And that's what we were kind of talking about today is when you're marketing to the affluent people who have the money, entrepreneurs, like that's our whole group that we're a part of. They usually have money, even though I don't have as much, making as much as I did for the last, 15 years. I'm still making enough to survive, but not probably for some people I think Steve said once, one of our worst days is somebody else's best days.
Absolutely.
Right. And so some of us, what we're used to, it changes, but that's okay. Things we get better. We figure it out. This whole time I'm re-looking at what am I doing? How am I doing it? Is there any better way to do it? And if it wasn't for this, it's just like COVID. When COVID came, we changed a lot of the way we did stuff.
Yes.
And it was so much better afterwards for some of us.
Yeah. Well, like you said, not everything can ride at a high all the time. So you have a few good years. And there are some people that when they have good years, what do? They stockpile extra money away. But what happens, human nature, is we adapt to where we are. So when things are easy, and we actually been talking about this for months, we said, hey, going into the tail end of this year and going into next year, you have to become a salesperson again, because before you were an order taker. People couldn't buy it everywhere. So they just called you up, said, this is what I want. You said, okay, let me give it to you. And you could jack up the prices. Like look at automobile. Is it the price of a car has been significantly over sticker. And so even car salespeople were making a ton of money because it was a low inventory. They didn't have to negotiate. They weren't having to make deals. They could just load in profit on things. Now those days are coming to an end. So if you've had a good period of time where you've made really good money and you didn't put anything away, and look, I'm guilty of that at times too, but this is where times change. And you got to figure out, oh crap, what do I do? How do I fix it? What do I add? What do I take away from it? So,
well, no, and because I had a lot, but it just, things were a little different than what I'm used to. A good, 16 months bad, but this was really bad with what happened. And we were talking about before, if it wasn't for this, we probably would see house prices so high that the average person would not be able to buy a home ever again.
Right.
And they'd be living in rentals for the rest of their life.
If you look at, or you go to like other countries where the homes are multi-generational and you just kind of outlive your parents and then you move to the master bedroom, and so you look at several other countries, that's the way it is, right? You live with your parents for a very, very long period of time until you're ready to become parents. Then you move out. Then the parents downsize because now they're empty nesters. It's going to be very interesting what things look like because student debt isn't getting any cheaper. Housing is going up. If you're just turning 21, 22, about to graduate college, you have to be a renter or you have to go back and live at home. There's just not the capability to pay your student loans, have a car payment, pay a mortgage and everything else that goes along with it.
No, and then the way it is now with rent, I mean, at 21, the rents are ridiculous.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, people be shocked, if I told you our rents. Yeah.
Apartment when I moved to the area I'm in, and granted, this was 20 years ago, almost 21, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet, I think. Maybe it's a little less than that, but $1,150. That was total. That same apartment is going for $2,250 right now.
Yeah.
And I realize that you go, yeah, that's 2 decades or whatever, but it just goes to show in that one area. I mean, there's brand new ones. I'm amazed. Some people are paying for a 1-bedroom, $4,500 a month. Well, but it's got a concierge and I can get free coffee downstairs. I'm like, for that much, you could have somebody deliver coffee every day. But
and that's
people,
and that's just depends on where you want to live. And again, it has
exactly.
to dealing with the influence. There are people making a lot of money still right now and are willing
Right.
to spend it for the right product, for the right service, for the right whatever that is. And you need to look at, are you providing that? Are you providing what you have to the right people?
Yes. And
And
it's
that's
okay to have different audiences, right? Like that's the largest, at least I'll say this for me, and I've heard the same thing from other people. The hardest thing is pricing your product. It's something that you initially wouldn't pay for yourself. And so then you get into that mental thing of, well, if I make it too expensive, can I serve that many people? But what they're saying is you have to have that high end product. So then you can create lower end products for everything else.
right. And you also need to stop putting your judgment on your pricing, have somebody else price it for you.
Exactly.
And we're all guilty, because I think I did a quote last week that was stated that, what we think is common knowledge, most people will pay for.
Right.
Right. And pay dearly for it. I didn't say the dearly part, but depending on what it is.
That's this week's new addition to it.
No, I'm just saying, but that's something I came across a long time ago. And these, it's so true. We just need to, I know we're going all over today and we're just talking and having conversations, but it's really the whole purpose of this is to really look at what you're doing and making sure you're marketing to the right people and at your highest price point you can do.
Right.
Whatever you think it is, double it and see what happens.
Well, I can't remember who said it, the most dangerous ground is the middle territory. So you either have to be the highest with highest quality, or you have to be the lowest with decent quality. But if you're stuck in the middle, you'll struggle the entire time. So what's your niche? What makes you stand out? What's your value proposition? And when you start doing that, we were talking before, I don't remember if it's before we start the live, but Russell Brunson is the king of building value in all of his products. That's the way his funnels work is you don't just sell one thing, you keep adding additional things to make it, stacking things. And we did talk last week on one of the girls that came up, it was what's your one-time upsell, and then, or what's your upsell, that's a simple upsell, and then what's your one-time offer to increase the spend by the people, because there's some people who want to pay for it. So there's a place here locally that they make one drink that's ridiculous. It's like actually, let me change this. I'll go back to when my friend used to bartend at Ghost Bar back in the day. So I don't even know if Ghost Bar is here anymore. But Louis the 14th was $500 a shot. And there was a guy that used to come in who would drink 3 to 4 of them a night and leave a $10,000 tip.
Wow.
Yeah. So of course they were all fighting when they saw him come in of who's going to win.
He's mine.
Exactly. They're all like stabbing each other. There's going to be those people that have just crazy amounts of money that what they can do, but that's not going to be the largest amount. But you need to have a product for that person if you're going after them. So like we were talking about before, not everybody has to drive a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but you need to have something of that equivalent in what you offer. Because if you've got somebody who likes you, who wants to spend the money with you, why not let them do it?
Right. I think they have, is it Lamborghinis or Maserati? I forget which one it is. Probably Lamborghini, where they have it for 500,000 all the way up to 5 million or 2 million. Yeah.
Well, the marketing technique of Ferrari is you are only allowed to buy an entry-level Ferrari as a Ferrari dealer. Then once you've had it and shown that you can take care of it for X amount of time, then you can buy the next tier up. But they're very strict about who you can sell your Ferrari to or who the dealership will sell one to. I'm sure there's a way to figure around it, but yeah.
Not really. I was with a guy who bought one today, and then it was a red one, took it home and crashed it that night and totaled it, and went up the next day and bought a green one. So they didn't have that much.
Yeah, but he couldn't go the next higher tier, right? Because apparently there's levels of Ferraris.
It was a Spider.
Yeah.
Back in the day, 355 Spider.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because somebody did this.
Convertible. Isn't everyone want a convertible Ferrari? I didn't like it myself. Yeah. There's no room in it, and you could smell the engine.
Well, like you and I, we're not small dudes, right? Like I'm 6'2". I don't know how tall you are, but my problem
6'2".
6'2". I'm all leg height. And so I need my legs fit, and I sit way down here in the car.
Yeah, I'm symmetrical.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't like getting out of those vehicles because you really got to get out of those vehicles.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Even when I was younger, I had a 500 SL when I was 27, and the worst thing was the getting out of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's like,
you got to roll out.
Just because you have to like lift yourself up. That's why I like vehicle, SUVs where I just slide out,
Right.
step in, slide out. Anyway, we're way off subject.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, we'll rail it back in a little bit. So we were talking about something for the affluent, because what you're reading is talking about there's only going to be 2 types of customers in the future, right? So
there's just going to be a lot. If you're going to price yourself on price, someone's going to come in and undercut you.
Right.
And that's the problem. So you need to stop that. So that's the first thing you need to do. And the second thing is you need to find out who your customer is. And people are going to have money. There's going to be a bigger gap between the low income, middle, that kind of thing, and the upper. There's going to be more in the other than there are going to be in the bottom.
Right.
And so you need to figure out what are you selling, who are you selling to, who is your perfect. You need to find your customer. Period. We've talked about this many times. Who is your customer? Narrow that down to a niche. I mean, there's so many. Listening to this today, yes, I was in my cold plunge for 15 minutes because I have at 55 today. And I did focus on a lot. You focus really well during that period of time. So you don't focus on time. And he gave a lot of information about who you should go after. And we can talk afterwards because I don't want to bring it up here right now.
Yeah.
Because it's a longer subject. And be okay with it. Because where the money is, you got to go where the money is.
That's exactly it. I mean, you look at what it really matters is how can you feed your family, with your business? Do you want to sell 1,000 products at $10, or do you want to sell a $10,000 product? Right. So it's just one of those things of what's your quality of life? What can you provide? And more importantly, price it where if it's of value, price it accordingly. And we struggle with it, right? And even let's take it in terms of a 9-to-5er. It's hard sometimes to ask for a raise or a promotion. But what's funny, if you're within a company, you should be happy with 3 to 5%. But if you hop between companies, you can ask for a 30% raise and you'll get it. So that's why if you leave being a 9-to-5er, it's hard to have. And I say this from experience, to value what my time's worth, because I was told what I was worth an hour versus being an expert or having knowledge on a particular subject. And so it's something that's a struggle at first. So pick up books like the ones Ed's talking about right now, or like Ed suggested, let someone else price it for you. That's the reason why a lot of speakers, they don't negotiate their own speaking fee. They have an agency book it for them because you're one step removed and you don't get emotional about it. So do the same thing.
Yeah. Here's what I used to do. So pricing my own loans. So I stopped pricing my own loans. I let somebody else do it because I would give the farm away.
Yeah.
Right. Not give it away, but just not make as much as I possibly could. It's different how we do it these days, but basically it's somewhat based off of the same principle. I let I have to stop because at a point there during the boom, what are you laughing at me for?
Because you're right. Well, you realize that you're a giving person is what I was laughing at is, you come across as this big gruff guy, but when it comes down to helping people, you will do that where you'll take some of your own profit away to help out people.
And you got to stop that.
Know that about you.
Yeah. That I don't broadcast that. Otherwise I'd really be taking advantage.
But
during the boom, during that pandemic, when we were doing stuff, we would price it differently. And then I gave it to one of my other staff. I said, you need to take this over because I'll do it for cheap and I need to do it for more than cheap. And so I let them, and that's when we started making more money, which is because we still did amazing for the client. But what level do you need to be at for that client? And you're right. I was like, I do go a lot for people, and some people know that and some people don't.
Right. That's why I was laughing, because I think when people see you, they think big gruff Ed, you've got all the stuff that you're doing, but they don't realize what you'll do for people. And I've witnessed that firsthand. Like you've gone out and played my hype man for me, right? I've seen you do it. You don't charge anything. Yeah, you don't make anything from it. That's just a part of who you are.
Helping people.
So I just think it's interesting that people don't always know that about you. That's why I was laughing.
Well, then the issue is if I like you, I'm going to help you. If I don't like you, I don't want anything to do with it. No, the thing is, I was a very private person until I got on radio. And then now everybody knows everything about me, and there's nothing I can do. And then I'm on all these lives, and I do so many podcasts. Everybody knows everything about me. But yes, I do. I don't smile much. That's just my personality. That's who we are.
Right.
You know, it was because I was abused as a kid. There was that,
go.
but yeah. But no, it just, you know, I do smile and laugh, but it doesn't happen all the time. And people like, you need to smile more.
Yeah.
There, I'm smiling on the inside.
I heard it creak. Yeah.
I smile on the inside.
Yes, there you go.
But yeah, I mean,
I get my coffee, but that's about it.
No, but it's so true. But you have, that's what I'm saying. When you're pricing this stuff out, that's why, you know, ever since I found Ralph, he's helped me out drastically on a lot of stuff. Like the other day, he redid all my email. So I had multiple email accounts. Now it's under one, and it's going to my calendar the way I want it. And it's not like I can't do it or didn't, but the amount of time it would take me to do it and figure it out. And yeah, so well, find your Ralphs.
A guy, I was listening to something this morning. And sorry, I'm losing my voice. Texas has been going from hot to cold. And so it's having its effect. There was a guy talked this morning. He said he went to a conference, and a billionaire or about to be a billionaire got up and he said, the number one thing is, if you want to be successful, stop trying to do it all. Start farming out more things that you're not good at. So what you and I have talked about numerous of these is learn enough to know how it works and when you're not, and so you're not being taken advantage of. But if you don't have the time, pay the money and you'll get there faster. So for example, you were tinkering and go high level, but it wasn't until you found Ralph to really help you get it to that next level. And you said it last week that it already resulted from you getting a call that you never would have gotten based on the changes he's already made.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, he set up, you know, I mean, just the little things that you know, how many Calendly accounts do I have now? I don't have to have.
Right.
You know,
that's crazy.
You know, yeah. Yep. So there's $100 right there.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I got to get rid of MailChimp. So I got a call from WordPress because they're like, did something happen on Friday or Saturday? You got a huge spike on your website. And it's because I found out MailChimp hadn't been mailing out the cheat sheet for the last 2 years. So I had to send, sorry, not last 2 years, last 2 months.
Oh, okay.
And so I had to send out like 300 things going, oh, hey, go download the cheat sheet. So they said they got pegged with a lot of people hitting the site and downloading. And so I got a dinged for that. I'm like, well, sorry, it wasn't working on MailChimp. It's worked for months. And all of a sudden, 2 months ago, it stopped working. So
yeah, so that's it. Stuff like that, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, he fixed my website so much faster. SEO's working. The only issue is we have this little area that doesn't work right. They got to get in and fix. But you know, it's always something.
Right.
But the most go ahead.
That's why you want to have people to help you with it.
Right. But a lot of us can't afford as much as we used to. I had 4 assistants. I don't have 4 assistants anymore because that was, plus I don't want to have California employees anymore. Right. I want to have contract only.
Yeah. So you used to have 4 assistants. Now you need to ask for assistance. Is that?
Yeah. Smart ass. No, I have contract people for what I do, but I'm looking for more of, so now I know exactly what I want for my videos and how I want them. Now I got to find somebody who'll do it. So,
right.
Yeah. But like, you know, Ralph's connected to all these people who do contract for him. He doesn't do it all. He contracts it out to these people. People. I don't mean that wrong as like these people. I just mean like different people.
Subbed out people. Right.
Yeah.
I do think we should do one of our lives should just be like proper etiquette training for people. I'm so tired of hey, I like your stuff. Hey, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, how long until they're going to pitch? How long until they're going to pitch?
They don't even do that. They just pitch right away.
I got some.
I like your stuff. Do you need some people help editing? Yes. Oh, you didn't get back to me. Did you? I just want to bring this up to the top of your email again. Oh, you know
my favorite one that I got recently was every sentence this guy started off with, bro, you don't understand what I can do for you, bro. And then he'd say something like, and this isn't any of this da-da-da bullshit either. And he'd call out a certain culture. And I was like, wow, okay, all right. How do you know I'm not? You know, it was just unbelievable. And he kept saying it over and over. And then he kept, bro, what? You don't trust me, bro? Bro, you don't know what I can do for you, bro. It made me think of one of the movies with The Rock and what's the little guy that's in there with him? Not Chris Rock, but damn, I forgot his name. I went to his birthday. You think I'd know who he was? But anyway, they had the movie, and this guy's like, "Hey, bro," and he's like, "Are you done? Are you done?" I was waiting for one more bro to come out. That's what I felt like in this DM.
Yeah, it's just a point where they're just ridiculous. But I don't engage. I don't even think about engaging. I like to see how many times they come back to you. But one of the things I did listen to recently is 3 times. Hitting people 3 times. So if you ever been through any type of collection stuff, you get the first notice, and then the second notice, they would talk about the first notice and the second notice, and then you get the third and final notice. Sorry, my dog's going to bark here soon. Third and finest, and it's not mine, it's Marsha's. There must be mailman somewhere. Hold on a second. Mute myself for a second.
I'll give you time to talk. That's perfect. So you were saying it takes several touches, and that's one of the things that they were talking about at that event we went to last week was don't always look at your ads manager. So if you're looking at like boosting something on TikTok or boosting something on Instagram or boosting something, don't always pay attention to your ads manager because there has to be so many touches now that it's not all being tracked in one place. So I think that's kind of where you were going with it all, right?
I don't remember. What was I talking about?
The number of touches and reach outs to people.
No, this is different. What this was about, like direct mail and certain things, and use it at the third. So when you reach out to people about certain things, you're going to want to hit them 3 times and do it the same way collection agencies are doing it. And the reason he said that, when he said that, I was like, wow, that I remember all those different notices over my period of time in life. I haven't always been perfect. And I could be going down that route again anyway, because you never know.
I think you and I talked about it on a live. There's a guy that sold a financial services company for $1 billion. And he said 3 months ago, I think is when we talked, that people have already forfeited on their first credit card. Now people are starting to stop pay on their second credit card. And so this just, money's getting tighter. And it's just been one of those things where things cost more. Groceries cost more. Gas is surprisingly getting lower again. I think I filled up for like $3.04 yesterday. But things they'll say, oh, well, groceries don't cost that much. Yes, they do. Go in and buy what you used to buy last year, and it's significantly more expensive. And the only ways to really cut down on those is gas has got to get cheaper. Then you have to look at automation. Well, now you've got truckers who are out of work. It's just one of those things of, it is going to be very soon where you have to figure out how do you climb higher, because there's not going to be a middle ground. You're either going to be down below or you're going to be up high. Now, what's interesting is Manoj said he believes when AI comes around, we'll have this kind of economy where we all get just say $4,000 a month, and you decide how you spend that $4,000, because we're not going to need to work after automation kicks in. But then you start looking at, well, how is somebody going to get the big house versus the little house?
Everybody's going to live in little things like they do in Japan.
They're like, what is it? The Fifth Element and all those other movies where everybody you get a room, a box, a toilet. It's going to be like a prison cell. Who knows if that's where we're going to go? Or is it going to be like the Time Machine, where the workers live underground and then they end up eating the people on top who just sit around and lay around the entire time, and nobody knows what a library is or anything because everything's given to them or told to them. Who knows if we're going to end up that way?
Well, the same book I was listening to is how they were talking about how the liberals are going to, the social light, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So and when I mean social light, socialism light. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. That is what they sell them. And they like that, when in reality, that's not how things work. And we're going to have a switch around here soon. The question is, when is that coming? Is that coming in a year, or is that coming in 4 or 5 years?
Right. There's a buddy of mine he came from Poland, right? He grew up under communist rule. And when he did that, now he's here and he's like, you guys don't realize how good you have it. I had to wait in line for bread or milk or things. Mm-hmm. I know what that world's like. You guys are nuts if you think that's going to work out great.
Yeah, they have no idea. They're just stupidity. I can't get in. Those stupid is, stupid does. You got to remember that the statement is, if you're a liberal by 25 unless you don't have a heart, and you're conservative by 35 unless you don't have a brain.
I haven't heard that one, but it makes sense.
It does, because we all care when we're younger too much, and then and then as we get older, we go, "What the hell?" Yeah, and that's the problem right now with the youngsters. And we're getting way off subject, but the youngsters, they can control every election if they vote, and they don't have a clue how to vote.
Well, it's just we need to go away from. I was talking about this with somebody else the other day, and let's just get political for a second. Not in leaning one way or the other. We don't need to have these bills that are hundreds of pages because I want to get my thing approved. And you want to get your thing approved. So we're going to sneak in some other stuff too. No, you should be able to vote on each individual line item within it. We're at the day and age we have the technology to do that instead of turning in an 800-page document that somebody's got to read and vote 100% yes or 100% no. We're past that bullshit. We should be, yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We're past that bullshit. What more are you going to say?
I'm just saying we should now be able to look at things on an individual basis and vote on those individual propositions or bills or anything else instead of everything lumped together.
Yeah, well, the problem also is the fact that they've learned people are lazy as shit and they'll vote no on everything. So they changed them to where you have to vote yes to not do it and no to keep it.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, they do that in California. They did that on the gas tax. To repeal this gas tax, you had to vote yes, you wanted to get rid of it. No, you wanted to keep it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay.
Well, that passed. It passed. Of course it passed.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Yeah. Because nobody reads. They just say no. And so our people here learned that. The Democrats who've been in power forever have learned what people do, and that's how they set the stuff up.
Wow.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Hey, there's a few companies in San Francisco looking for creative directors if you need a job.
Sure. That's not where I'm moving for sure.
3 days a week. No, thank you. 2 hour 2.5 hour round trip. Nothing. It's LinkedIn has been sending me shit because I looked at it. There was a job with who's Joe Rogan with? Spotify. It was out, and I was like, man, that'd be an amazing job, right? Just because everything. And so ever since then, I could get all this crap sent to me. But then I'd have to work for somebody besides me.
Well,
what are you gonna do?
Never know. Sometimes it may be a necessary thing.
You never know. Do what you got to do to get by. To do what you got to do.
So that's what they call a bridge job sometimes, right? What do you do just temporarily while you're searching for the other thing? So who knows? That's where a lot of people are going. I know people who are leaving, the great resignation, everything. Some people are taking lesser paying jobs, but they're happier. Right. And then some people are just saying, okay, well, I'll just keep this job, but I'll get a side job. I'll do Uber. I'll do all these things. But even those things, Uber right now is so oversaturated in Dallas in terms of drivers. But then when the automated cars, if they do come, then you got to think, okay, well, what about that? Now, I don't know if you saw a month ago, a bunch of them caused a bunch of traffic in Austin because they all kind of like got into each other's grids. So they didn't hit each other. It wasn't anything bad or dangerous, but they caused big traffic jams in Austin. And, call me old, whatever you want. I'm still a little suspect about riding in a car with no driver. Maybe it's because I saw iRobot way back in the day. I don't know.
iRobot. I saw, what was the one, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He gets into the one car that's automated with the guy. When he goes back, not True Lies.
Hold on.
When he wakes up, right? He was an undercover agent, and he didn't realize it.
There's a remake of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is that called?
Who cares? Move on.
I know what movie you're talking about. Yeah. Total Recall. Yeah. Total
that's
Recall.
The one. See, knew you'd have it right there.
Yeah, eventually.
So, I just didn't think about it.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, you sit there and think about it. Look what happened to Will Smith, right? He was in iRobot. The robots made him angry. He slapped Chris Rock. So, maybe it's all this automation.
We're just used to someone controlling him.
That's right. So now that we've gone completely off topic today, I'd say
we should just call it a day.
Yeah.
All right. And just so people know, we're not here next week. We're not here Thanksgiving week. We're not here Tuesday or Thursday. We're taking that week off. Same with Christmas week and New Year's week.
Yep.
So I know you're going to miss us. This Thursday, Brian's not going to be here. I'll be here, and we'll have a special guest. Don't know who it is yet because they're special.
That's right.
And they probably don't even know when they're coming either.
Exactly.
It's one of those weeks. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
All right. Brian, thanks for being here. Most important thing that we talked about today is really look at who you're supposed to be marketing to. Find your perfect client. Know your USB, right? Your unique selling proposition. I can't even say preposition. There you go. I'm just kidding. Know who you're supposed to be talking to. And the biggest thing I run into is people, and I'm talking, they don't know who their client is.
Yeah.
Or anybody, everybody. I taught one guy we interviewed on it for Colorado on the radio show. He's in Colorado. I don't really, I do the I-25 corridor. Who's your client? Yeah, anybody in there.
Look, of all people, I can kind of understand.
That's an agent, real estate agent.
Yeah, because I can teach on a variety of subjects, and because I teach about faces, I'm like, well, anybody's got a face, but you have to have a market to chase. And if you want to pick up ancillary stuff, that's a bonus.
Right. You need to focus on one market. Like you could do one, how to talk to I can't even talk the words.
Affluent.
Thank you.
More coffee. Yeah.
No, I'm finally warming up, so I'm getting drained now.
That's right.
Yeah. No, the issue is, so know how to talk to them. So you have one chance at them. Know how to read their face. How to talk to them. This is how you do it. You want to get into this? Blah blah blah. Buy my course today. Oh, you want to do? We have group coaching that we can teach you this today. You sign up for this today. Oh no, you don't want that. You want to have individual training? We have that also today. There you go. I just did your funnel.
There you go. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
Let's see here. I just got a little thing on LinkedIn. Hi, Ed. I know it's tough to get alignment on everything at once. Your brand strategy, culture. It's like, really?
There it comes.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So, all right. So back to Thursday.
Yes. I'll be here on Thursday. Brian won't, because he's going to have to go to the hospital.
That's right.
No, but you guys have allergies.
Yeah.
Again, just find out who your perfect client is and just focus on them. It might take a little bit longer to get to them. That's okay.
Yep.
Just focus, because it takes time. It takes time to build whatever you're trying to build. Brian Smith, I interviewed him for, the UGG founder who brought it to America. It took him 15 years of crap before he got anything. He lost his company during that period of time. People don't understand that.
Right.
It didn't happen overnight. Neither does anything you're doing. So don't think it does.
Exactly. It all adds up. Consistency is what pays off in the long run. Doesn't matter what you're in, what you're doing, making all the phone calls, sending out the emails, knocking on doors. It's consistency that wins in the long run.
Correct. So, just like gym. Going to the gym consistently makes you have muscles.
Exactly.
That's right. I have muscles.
Muscles. All right.
To make it a great day. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you on Thursday. And Brian, have fun wherever you're going.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, you will. I'll take us out. Everybody, if you like what we do here, just subscribe to the Aces 53 YouTube channel.